Hey, is everything working? I think it's working. We'll talk about why it might not be working in a minute. But what's up, guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs. And for this live stream, we're doing something a little bit different, but also something a little bit familiar. If you were around a few years ago, back when I did this all the time. So the story is tonight, I wanted to do this anyway, but with Brian also, but he's not going to be here tonight. So it's just going to be me solo. It's exhilarating to do this again because we're gonna do some sculpting. You can't see it, but I can see it. You'll be able to see it soon enough. And we're gonna do some talking about some topics also. Is everything working here? By the way, if you guys can hear me well, let me know. If you can see me well, let me know. I'm a little high in the screen right now. Don't worry about that. I had to move my seat. It'll be fine once we switch over. But let me know if everything's good. Everything looks like it's good. Thanks for being here, guys. The audio, I noticed I didn't like the way I sounded in previous live streams, recent previous live streams before I had it all ironed out. But this time I've adjusted some things. So let me know if I sound okay. Is the volume okay? Does it sound tinny or pitchy or anything like that? If it sounds good, let me know. Hopefully it does. I can't afford fancier equipment, so I just have to try to use the stuff I have nicely, use it appropriately. So hopefully that's what I've done. Hopefully I've adjusted it properly. There should be a nice, deep sounding like timbre. Is it timbre? I think is the word to my voice because it's a very masculine, handsome voice. No, I'm just joking. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Looks good. So what we're gonna do is I do want to talk about three separate topics tonight. But what I want to do also is the fourth topic, which is what I'm going to be sculpting. I'm not. I don't know. So here's. We'll talk about the sculpting briefly. We have two options. Okay, so the first option is we just come up with something for me to freehand just sculpt for some fun because I haven't done this in many years. So I'm not going to remember a lot of the keys to press. I'm not going to remember all the doodads and doohickeys on the sculpting program. So it's going to be kind of a slow go if it's anything technical. So we'll see if you guys want me to do that. I want to play around with some knee articulation. If you guys are interested in something more technical, we'll do knee articulation. If you want me to just sculpt something, like I'll pick something somebody says, then I can just freeball it, as they say, and sculpt something. The free ball comment actually kind of applies to this because you start with a ball oftentimes. So we'll get to that in a second, what you want me to do in terms of sculpting. I wouldn't mind just stretching my legs a little bit on like a casual sculpt. That might be a good thing for everybody. Okay, but then the other three things. The first topic is the Spider-Man, the black suit Spider-Man from Revel Tech. I want to talk about that briefly. And then the second thing is the new Halo game. And the third thing would be the Rival collectibles, which isn't really like something I want to talk about per se, but I can show you guys some things if you haven't seen it before. Honestly, on this computer, I don't know which files I have, so I'll just dig around and find something. Find something to show you. Here's something. Well, you guys can't see it yet, but we'll get to that. So, I guess what we could do is we'll do one of two things. So as far as the sculpting things goes, that's going to change how we're going to do this. And I will be responding. I can see your chats and things. I should have it set up. Let me see. Let me see if I have it set up right. I still do. All right, never. That would be a never. I think OnlyFans started off as not being like a pervy sexy thing, right? It started off being things like this, but uh but that's not what it is. So I'm not going to do that anymore. Last time I took my shirt off on stream, it just shut down the internet. I don't know if that's good or bad. Okay, so anyway, I can talk about the two things during the sculpt if we're going to do like a real casual sculpt type deal, or if I'm going to do a more technical sculpt type deal, I'll do the sculpting after we talk about the two things. How do you guys want to do that? Talk and sculpt, or talk, then talk and sculpt, but a lot less talking while I'm sculpting because I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. How would you guys like to do that? I don't know how to start a poll, but you guys can answer and I'll see your comments. Also, welcome to everybody. Hi. Thank you for being here. Those of you who are, I see crowns in the YouTube chat. I didn't see that ever before because I never have YouTube chat open. I use a different one, but fight for those crowns. I think it's based on comments. I don't know. I guess that means engage. It's supposed to drive engagement, probably. Talk, then talk and sculpt. That would probably be my thing. Sculpt a torso since Hasbro can't. I could probably whip out a pretty decent torso without any reference. That wouldn't be super accurate, but it would probably look nice. Talk and sculpt. Less talky, more sculpty. Well, I have to talk. Nobody's gonna trust me. Sculpting's a slow process. Like it's fun for me to do, but watching it, unless you're really into sculpting, there's a reason most sculpting videos are sped up. Um, Thanks for the support. Those of you who are just saying nice things. Talk and sculpt. The return of sculpting. Yeah, kinda. All right, so if we're gonna talk while sculpt or if I'm gonna talk the whole time and sculpt the whole time, I'm gonna have to just like sculpt a body just for fun, just for practice. Like maybe just a torso or something. And I can't do hard surface sculpting quickly. That won't I can't do Master Chief. Um Hi Anthony, what do you think of that whole controversy surrounding the Foosh? I mean, I don't know much about it. I never bought anything from them, but if people are getting screwed out of their money, that sucks. Um okay, simple sculpt and talking. Okay, so let's see if I have this set up. It looks like I do. Do you guys still see and hear me? Is everything still good? Am I in the corner and you can see some sculpting? Okay, so this sculpt here is just, oh, hold on. I have to put on my special glove. Um, well, the practice run is just a general thing. The knee sculpting thing, the knee articulation thing isn't going to be like hyper technical, but, uh, yeah, so this is just a thing I was working on forever ago, and it was one of the files I had on the computer. Let me see if I remember the keys. It's gonna be so funny. I haven't done these key combos. Like you have to use keys while you're doing it, and I haven't done this in like 3 years. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how much of this is like riding a bike and how much of this is like building an engine. I don't know. All right. So if okay, I guess we'll talk about this briefly. This is just like I want to have a character that has. Let me see if I have it in here. Something like this sort of setup, like, obviously, just ignore this higher detailed one. I started off with something like this just to block it out. I wanna have a character that has some kind of I don't remember how to do any of the things, so let's just turn them off one by one. I think if I press shift hold on, let's try it. I remember stuff. Almost, there's extra thing there somewhere. Anyway, I wanna have a character in my line of action figures that has some kind of big robotic arms, because that's always cool, right? So it's always fun. So I just blocked this out forever ago, and then not quite as forever ago, I, uh, I came up with this concept, which is a little bit more detailed, and of course, I have to sculpt it all, like, none of it's actually detailed. Um, and the idea would be that this blade again, this is rough. This is one of the things I have to reiterate all the time when we're sculpting. Is this? These are rough sculpts. These are going to change a lot. The blade would actually be able to rotate down here, so you could have like a big Baraka type blade coming forward, or you can have the big blade going up the back this way. So that's what this was. But if I'm going to talk about Halo and the Spider-Man and everything else, then maybe I should just do another sculpt. Just like kind of sculpt in a torso and see if that would be fun, or I can just no, you know what? I'll just do the knee thing and see what I can come up with. I'm just gonna come up with my own. Like I'm not gonna make it onto my action figures. I'll just do. What is that? Where is that? Oh, it's that piece. Okay, so how do I do that now? I want to do. Maybe I can just do this. If I go here, uh, all right. Yeah, this is gonna be. Gosh, it's been a long time. Here's what we'll do. We'll talk while we're doing it. So, what do you guys want me to talk about first? Spider-Man. Get that out of the way. We can talk about Spider-Man. So the black suit Spider-Man. I have some. There we go. Insert sphere. That's what I was trying to remember. All right, now we can work. And we're gonna get our draw size up. Standard brush seems like a thing. Can we see? It's dense enough to get started. Okay, so what I need to do is get a leg shape going. And we'll see if I can do that reasonably reasonably quickly or not. I don't know at this point, but maybe we can. All right, that's a leg. No, I'm joking, of course. Um, so the Spider-Man, it looks veiny. And what do you guys think about the veiny black suit Spider-Man? Because for me, I would rather not be veiny. I don't really want that. I want my black suit Spider-Man to be smooth, like the classic suit. How do you guys feel? Do you guys feel that way also, or what do you think? Because like I don't hate it being veiny, but if it's veiny, then just coming up with like a rough leg shape here, by the way, and then we're gonna try to just really do some rough cutting of joints to see what I can come up with for something that I would do. All right, so that's good enough for the thigh, I guess. Super. Can you guys hear that? Did you hear the super? No, you didn't hear it. All right, never mind. We got a super chat. Oh, that's a cool animation. All right, let's hit the super chat real quick. Uh, Glove is back 30 minutes until someone calls it Gundam. RoboCop. We're gonna get RoboCop. Oop, wrong thing. We're probably gonna get RoboCop a few times. We'll probably get Shredder if I show my other stuff. Like people always misidentify what I'm sculpting. That's so yeah, as far as the Spider-Man goes, I don't know. Let me do this. Let me just do a little bit of sculpting on here just so that I can tell what I'm gonna have like some studs going like this and this okay, but here good enough. Like we're not actually trying to sculpt a leg here. I just need it to look kind of like something. Oh, we need it denser. How do we dynamesh? Ah, good enough. Okay, so yeah, I don't know about it being veiny. I don't really want a veiny black suit Spider-Man. I don't want it to look like Venom. I want it to look like Spider-Man. All right, so that's our very rough looking quad. Now I need a lower leg. So I'm like, I'll get it. I like Black Suit Spider-Man a lot. I think the figure looks decent. But if memory serves, the figure uh it has a smooth head. So there's no texture on the head at all. It's only everywhere else. So I don't know. As far as getting the right build goes, no. Does Revoltech ever get the right build? Like they don't. I don't think they're trying to really get the right build. He's super chunky. I'm just trying to get like a lower leg shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, this is not the final product. This isn't even close. This is just me coming up with something that loosely, very loosely looks like a leg. So that I can play around with some articulation ideas that I have. I'm not using any reference or anything. Don't judge my anatomy. It's just it's like I said, we're just working loose and fast here. My nickname in high school. I don't know why. I didn't have a nickname in high school. I did, but I won't tell you what it was. Okay. So yeah, it looks good. It looks like another Revoltech. I like that it doesn't have the armor on it like the other Spider-Man had. So that's nice. Um, but otherwise it just looks iffy. Like the smooth head, veiny body, and he's thick. He's chunky. He's got some real muscle going on. So it'll be fine. I'll review it and we'll see, but that's okay. The other thing I want to mention, because somebody commented, stop. Let me put this on there. Stop where you are. That's HasLab Maximum Series. Um, the figure arts Spider-Man is we need to get a knee going. Should I put the knee? Well, that's part of the thing I want to figure out is where do you put the knee? I don't want to do it exactly the way like if I'm going to do a single jointed knee, which I am definitely a fan of. Let's talk about that briefly. How many of you guys like single jointed knees versus double jointed knees? Because I'm kind of a fan of single. I've been becoming more of a fan of single jointed knees the more I've collected. I like the idea of not having that giant. So like when you have a knee joint on an action figure that's a double joint, it basically does this. You end up with this really blocky, squared off, ugly mess. And I was trying to alleviate that some in my sculpts, but you can't really get rid of it. So I'm really, really going into the idea of not doing that and doing a single joint instead. So I don't know. I'm tempted to. I think I'm going to seriously pursue doing single jointed knees, maybe even elbows. I'm not sure for sure, but that's what I'm thinking. As long as it gets better than 90, you're all for it. Revoltech does it. Well, it's going to be so there's two different main ways to do it. I guess there's three. All right. So the first way to do a single jointed knee is the tried and true. The thigh has two pieces, the lower leg has one piece, or vice versa, and it's just on a single on a pin. Okay, and it just works like that. What Revoltech does is they just do one and one, so there's no outer piece. You just have one piece here, one piece here, and then that works on a single pin. But then you can also do the kind where you have like the ball or the hinge insert molded into the knee, so it would be like an elbow on a single jointed elbow. We've seen that 1,000 times from like Mythic Legions and things like that, where that pins into the thigh. I don't like that because then you get that rotation that's often loose. So what I'm thinking of doing is, well, I'm torn. I'm leaning towards the Revoltech style of doing just side by side and then sculpting around it. But I do like the idea of having the thigh pinch on both sides. That gives you a more sturdy joint. I don't know about you guys, but the Revoltech knees fall apart. You can pull them apart very easily. Do you guys have that? Yeah. Royal mentioned his get loose easy. Um, so I don't know. I haven't seen the Camion or whatever it is, but I've seen pictures of it. I haven't seen it in person. Um, so the other option, the other option is to do it the way SH Figure Arts is doing their knees also, which is basically not possible at a reasonable price point, and I'm not going to do that. But this will be kind of effectively the same thing. So I don't know. So the question is, how do you cut up a single joint to make it look good and function well? So we'll duplicate these off. Let's just remember how to do that at least. Do that. We'll turn that off. Turn that off. Hey, I remembered how to click. All right. Revoltech's version is good. You guys don't seem to have a problem. Yeah, I had to remove. Oh, that's some other conversation. Oh, the cancellation of the SH Figure Art Spider. It's only in Asia, so everybody who was trying to tell me, oh, it's canceled, it's canceled, it's canceled, only in Asia. So if you're not in Asia, you're fine. If you are in Asia, you'll be able to get it on eBay or something. Like I'm sure they're not going to have like a limited supply. They don't usually sell out of stuff too often. Bandai that is. So I wouldn't worry too much. You might have to pay a little bit more getting it on eBay or like through Big Bad Toy Store or whatever. I don't think it'll be too big of a deal. All right. So the question is, let's see, how do we do that? I can do this. But what you want to do? Oh, there we go. Is you have the parts overlap for sure. Like this is the only way to do it. You have to have some kind of overlap in order for this to function properly. So Revoltech often cuts the chunk out of the thigh on the outside of the leg. I don't know why they do that. I think they should cut the chunk out on the inside of the leg, and that's what I want to try to do. That's what I'm going to try to do. We're going to see. We're just going to toy around with it a little bit, see what we can come up with. And I trust you guys to have the right input. Hey, why didn't we get an announcement? Oh, you guys didn't get to hear it. Did it play on the screen for you? I don't think it played on the screen. CN Brock with a super chat. Thank you. Collection tour. Those cabinets, they're still empty. I would just be showing you piles of things on the floor. I have not had time to set up anything. So ideally soon, but likely never. Likely never ever. No, at some point. At some point it'll happen. Ideally. Um would single jointed mean they'll be cheaper? No. I mean, you're not talking about enough of a difference for one joint. And it's still assembly, and it depends how I design it. Like there's way too many there's way too many variables for me to answer that just on the fly. You could make a cheaper joint, but let's say you're going to do an insert molded type joint, like a single jointed elbow, like they do on most figures. That costs more to have the insert molded joint. It'll have less assembly time because you don't have to put two pins in or whatever. I'm definitely not doing pinless joints in the traditional sense or in the way Hasbro does it. 100% not doing it. Don't care what anybody says. If they don't want to buy it, that's okay. I have my reasons. It's not a good idea. There are a lot of downsides to that type of joint. Huge downsides. There are benefits, but there are also downsides, and I don't think the benefits outweigh the downsides. I've made a video about that. You guys can check that out. Um, what are your thoughts on the new Spider-Man Marvel Legends figures? Some are bland. Nightcrawler looks fine, but small shoulders. Not sure exactly what you're asking, but yes, there are a lot of small and low shoulders. Um, this is a left leg. Like I said, it's a super rough sculpt because I don't really care what it looks like right now. This is the outside of the leg. You can kind of see. I left that line there to kind of make sense, and muscles aren't where they go exactly, but it's just enough. It's enough to get the idea done. Since not really, this is not going to be the sculpt. This is just me toying with the idea of the articulation I want to do. Yeah, I don't have a problem with pins at all. But the great thing about pins is you can make them tighter, or they at least have more resistance. They have the squeezing, and they have whatever mechanical resistance if you have like ridges or grooves or whatever. So you have two different things holding the joint together. Whereas once it's insert molded, if that hard inner piece shears off the nubbins on the inside of the joint, it's just loose. Or as you guys have, I'm sure, experienced, super tight. They're either too tight or too loose almost always. And they will eventually get loose over time. All joints will, if there's any friction. Um, but the ones with pins have a better chance of withstanding. So, um, thanks, Terrence. I appreciate it. I'm trying to keep up with chat as much as sculpt and talk. It's hard to customize pinless figures. Well, that's true too. But yeah, so anyway, so to talk about pricing a little bit, when you have a pinless figure, you have insert molding on across three parts essentially. So that's costly. That's difficult to do. If you some places can't even do the tooling. I mean, they probably could if they had it, um, like already in their repertoire. They could do it, but some I'm guessing some factories don't have that sort of tooling available. Um, and then if you have pins, you have more assembly time. So cost is probably either thing. Okay. Well, this I don't know if the sculpting streams are back. We'll see. If I make like $10,000 tonight, then I'm just gonna quit the channel altogether. I'm joking. I'm joking. It would take at least 11. All right, let's go back to here. Let's leave this on. I'll tell you what, and this isn't me trying to toot my own horn. It's just funny how muscle memory kicks in. I have not touched these keys in this way in at least 3 years, but more like 4.5. So anything that I'm remembering how to do, it's kind of miraculous. All right, so we'll adjust the sculpt after if we need to. I just need to get some material where it is. And then for this, let's this solo and brush clip rectangle. Roll shift. Thanks for reminding me. I'm glad the tutorials are on there. Oh man, my keyboard's dusty. So is my sculpting. Let's see. It's gonna go in. So you can do it one. I can't do it that way. That's not. Well, we can start off, I guess. We cut. Oh, what is that? Let's do. We do another super. Get off my. From Action Creature. Here's $5 of the 10K gold. Love your videos. Thank you. I appreciate it. We're almost there. I'm once again asking for your help. What's that? Is that a meme? That's a meme. Bernie Sanders. Let's see. We're not getting political. I'm allowed to reference a meme. I want to go click on clay tubes. We have clay tubes. If I do this, or which key is it? Oh, there it is. I do this. How far over do I want to go? I want to go over like. This is the problem Revoltech has. They end up with not enough material. So maybe we do a different thing. Maybe what we do is we go into the. Don't let her out. Here we go. We can cut it out of the middle, and that might give us. You cut it like this, obviously, and then you have like your traditional where you would put a pin through it, and you could still do pinned. I don't really want to do pinned, so this is the problem. So the Revoltech joint system in the knees, the reason they do it the way they do with the two joints just going side to side like this, they don't use any pins. They just have a big plug on one end and a big opening on the other, and it plugs onto itself. So that's a little bit easier to assemble, better looking, but it has less friction. The joints could get loose. I don't know. Oh, here's a question. Let me answer this question. Anthony, if you could choose one company to make Halo figures, who would it be? That's a good question. I would love to see Storm make most things just to see how they would do it. Otherwise, I think 3-0 would be my choice. I'd like to see 3-0. Um I don't want to do it that way. You know what? I'm going to just for the sake of what we're doing tonight, let me just keep doing this. See what we can there we go. Cut this out, right? And then we'll Dynamesh it. Hidden Dynamesh. All right, and then we'll crease that. My creasy. My creasy tool is not there. My ZBrush, I haven't actually used it in like forever, so I haven't updated any of my. Believe it should be the D's. Let's see. Where is the D section? There we go. There it is. Where is the D? That should have been my the name of my autobiography. That sounds not like what I meant it to sound like. Never mind. All right, then we can polish it up a little bit just to square this off. Like I said, guys, we are working fast and loose here just to see what we can come up with. I like the way it looks. Frankly, the fact that we're getting any pressed M, anything done at all, I'm okay with that. um, I wasn't expecting to remember anything. That's gonna have to do because I don't want to spend more time trying to do this. Maybe we should have gone for a more fun sort of sculpt. I don't know, just something. But this will do. We'll come up with something. Close enough. That looks like a cut up leg, right? Okay, so now we want to cut this leg. Oh, we need to do it this way. Round. All right. So normally this would be a whole sphere, but we're just kind of we come up. All right. Okay, so we have to talk about Halo a little bit. Do you guys want to talk about Halo? I know not everybody is interested in Halo, but I know. Oh, here's a question. But I know a lot of you are, especially since I put it on the thumbnail. Oop, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Where did that go? Yeah, action creature. I am toying with the idea of doing it Revoltech style, but I don't know. All right, this is the question I wanted to answer. If Hasbro offered you a job on the Marvel Legends team, would you take it? Would you abolish two separate questions? Would I abolish the Maximum series? No, I think they should just make them good figures that the name would imply. But if I got offered a job, At Hasbro working on Marvel Legends. I'm assuming you're referring to like an actual full-time position, in which case, no, I would not take it. I do not want to work for Hasbro of all places, and I like working for myself. Even if I make way less money, it's worth it. If I got offered a consulting position, then perhaps I wouldn't mind throwing some help their way. That'd be good, but not ever a real position. Storm Rising says it's a hot take, but Halo is a generic, overrated FPS. Well, I don't know how you could say generic when it's the only one that looks like it does. Even the modern stuff, but it is more generic than it once was. That's for sure. So there's that. All right. So now what we have to do is I don't know. I'm guessing this was a bad idea. Like trying to figure out if I remember how to do any of this in front of an audience and trying a new idea for articulation all at the same time just seems like a real bad idea. But that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Oh, we can. So, so how that works is there's a big chunk of like a peg sticking out in here, or yeah, this one would have the peg probably. Whichever one has less meat would have the peg, and then it pegs into the other side. Now, the way Revoltech does it is they carve out a big chunk on the outside. This is the outside of the leg. They carve out a big chunk back here for this to be able to move. Theirs is reverse of this typically. I don't like having a big chunk on the outside. I'd rather have it on the inside. And they also don't do it as offset as I'm doing it. So in this case, this would have the peg and this wouldn't. So I wonder if that would work. So we'd have to carve away here. You have to carve away too much. Do that. So I think we would have to switch. You don't want to carve away too much of your sculpt to make the joint work. So you would want the thicker part. You're going to carve away on the thigh, not the lower leg, because it's too. You're going to carve away up here. You want to build that up. Oh, this needs to be over way farther. Yeah, I did it the wrong way. I was setting it up to carve out the lower leg rather than the up. Why is it hard for companies to make good female action figures? And when you do find female figures, they nearly cost an arm and a leg? I don't think it's hard for them to make good ones. I think they don't try to because they don't sell as well. I think that's the thing. They don't sell as well, point blank, unless it's a very specific type of female figure. And I think you know what I probably am hinting at. I'm just reading some of the comments. I'm not going to address every comment. Um, I think they just don't do it because of sales. I think that's the main. So let me fill this back in because I realized I did it. I did a dumb. I did a dumb thing. Where's my backfill button? What's it called? Backface masking. Where would that be? Surface? Modifiers. Brush modifier. Nope, not there either. Hmm. Oh, one of the problems is I updated ZBrush and I don't. Haha. I haven't used it since I updated it, so none of my menus are set up the way they're supposed to be. What was I talking about? The female figures? Okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. One of the problems happens when you're responding to questions. What am I hinting at? I'm hinting at the pervy figures. All right, here's a question. I keep clicking on the wrong. Todd McFarlane lied. No, it's a real thing. It's not Todd. I'm not taking anything from Todd. This is a real thing. Companies have been dealing with it forever. In a general sense, female figures don't sell well. Even across anime lines, depending on the character, female figures don't sell well. Um, as well, I should say, as well as other figures. So, um, Here's a question. Am I trying to save money? No. No, it's not going to make that much of a difference. I'm trying to make the knee look as good as possible. Instead of having the knee rip apart every time you bend it, like a Marvel Legends knee, which is a double jointed knee, which is, I mean, that's fine. I'm trying to make it look like a single joint, which is why I'm trying to do a single joint, obviously. You guys are going faster than I can keep up, even with a slow stream like this. Where was that question? Female figures do not sell well because you have to figure every step away from an anchor character, which is like Captain America, Wolverine. Every step away from that, you have fewer and fewer people wanting to buy it. And if you are selling toys to boys, for instance, most boys want the heroes, want the big, muscly guys because that's who they are pretending to be or whatever. If you're talking to kids, most young boys aren't going to buy the girl toy. That's just the way it is. And typically, the girl characters aren't as prominent characters. There are some, like Black Widow, for instance, in Avengers, things like that. But even then, if you're going to buy Captain America or Black Widow, not Black Widow. So there's all kinds of different reasons why female characters don't sell as well as a rule. This is not like we don't have to say, but I know one. Obviously, there are different examples and exceptions to the rule, but as a rule, that is definitely a thing. That is definitely a thing. Look at which Naruto figures sell really well, or which any figures sell. I shouldn't have done it that way. Let's do it this way. I think I can cheat. If I remember anything about my ZBrush stuff, I might be able to make this work. Haha, kinda. Sorta. That looks great. That's exactly what I was going for. Nailed it. We need to fill that whole area in. That easy. Probably. Maybe. This. 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 Outside. That. There we go. Hey, we are cooking with gas now. I've accomplished next to nothing, but sometimes you just have to accomplish nothing sometimes to find the right thing. You know what they say about Thomas Edison? He didn't screw up 10,000 times, it wasn't that many, before he found the right thing to make the light bulb. They were all just steps in the process. No mistakes. I don't know if anybody says that. It's a good chance. Good chance I made that. So back to what we were talking about. Female figures don't sell. Halo. Should we talk about Halo briefly or not? What do you guys think? Okay, you guys, I know there are outliers. We don't have to say, but this and that. I know it's still a thing. Every company does this. There's a reason no companies put as much effort into the lady characters as the boy characters, unless it's that type of thing where it's about the boobies. If you like the boobies, then they're gonna sell. And if that's the oop, oh no, what happened? Oh no 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 no. Is anything happening to the stream right now? Do you guys? Is it normal? Is everything working? I hit a thing. I hit a thing. Hold on a second. Okay, I hit it. I instead of on ZBrush, I hit a thing over here and it did stuff. Give me a second here. I need that one back. Studio. I made a whole video about the McFarlane thing and Mattel. I don't want to be rude, but I would refer you to that video so that we don't have to do it here. No, but Revoltech Chun-Li's not a good example because it's a lousy figure. So there's that. Also, how do we do that? Is it Control A? Control W. Yeah, it's W. All right. Did you guys know some people say W instead of W? I didn't know that. Found that out the other day. Um, I'm not going to, "Hey, you guys figured out how to use the" Nate figured out how to use the little, sprites. Oh, yeah, Nate did it again up there. A couple people, maybe it's just Nate, I don't know. I put those in there for you. No, I think they're right. I think female figures don't sell as well because they know the sales numbers. You're saying, but they would sell better if they made better figures. They're not new to this. I'm pretty sure it's not that. My guess. Um, so I don't think it's that. I don't believe it is. So in this case, if we're gonna move this over this way, we need the knee to be on the. So here's the other problem. This is what I'm dealing with, guys. Why I'm not. ZBrush is not moving. It can't move unless I do it. Moving for. Yeah, it works, right? Yeah, it's working. What are you talking about? um, W. Yeah, you say double V. You saw that? You say it. Yeah, it is a double V. In a lot of ways. Um, okay, I'm not going to talk about the which figures sell more. I'm going to trust all of the companies that are acting as if. But so anyway, before we get to the halo, I want to talk about knees. If I do the single jointed knee, you have to put a kneecap on one part or the other, and that makes it a challenge. And I think that's why the Revoltech ones fall apart. So one of the problems I'm having is where do you put the kneecap without doing a sandwich style joint? So I'm thinking you have to do a sandwich style joint, which is the thigh comes down on both sides and then you put the kneecap down the middle, like the shin bone runs straight up with the kneecap attached to it. Then you have the thigh on both sides. But if I do just a split, so where it's like the Revoltech style, I don't know that I'm going to have enough of versatility, the design, to have knee pads and things without having every single figure be a brand new sculpt. And then that becomes a real problem. So because this has to, see, the thigh has to come over pretty far. The reason the thigh has to come over so far, I guess it's, can't tell what I'm talking about. The reason the thigh has to come over so far is you need to have room. This part here is going to have a pin that goes into this. The more meat, the better, so that it can hold it. But you have to carve out an area. Like right here, you don't have any place for this to go. So the thing that Revoltech does, and the thing you have to do, is carve out this spot right here, so that there's an opening for this whole thing to bend. Uh, I said W. This has to rotate, so that's going to be like right there roughly. So when it rotates, you have to carve it out. You want to carve out as little as possible, so that means this part has to be as thin as possible. This piece right here has to be as thin as possible. And if this is really thin, that means you can't attach a knee pad to it. You have to have the knee connected up here. Yeah, most brands put the knee on the thigh, but I don't think I like the knee on the thigh. This is my problem. Mhm. I don't like the idea of the knee on the thigh because when you bend it, I mean, I guess I could make it work. Let's see. Let's just pop a knee on here. Pretend we're gonna put the knee here. Like the way this looks, and this is exactly the knee shape we want. That's our kneecap. All right. It's not the worst kneecap, but it's certainly not a good kneecap. Here, here. It's not like I said, we're not. Well, the thing with Revoltech is they don't put a knee on the thigh. They put a knee pad off the shin, and it sticks off in like into nowhere. So it's not. It doesn't make any sense. Um, yeah, I've seen the female Titan. I don't like the way they do it. I'm trying to come up with a new way to do it to adjust this a little bit. that it doesn't look too weird, right? Um, Trying to come up with a new thing, guys, and well, not a new thing. I'm trying to come up with a new way to implement existing articulation to make it better, to make it work better. And it may just be that I end up doing what I was going to do in the first place, which is just some standard ass double jointed knees. But do you think every toy maker should have a degree in anatomy and physiology so they can finally produce? No, I don't have any of those things, and I can do it. So no, I don't. I don't agree with that, or I would be saying I shouldn't. I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. You probably need the knee bend to add. You probably need the knee bent to add the knee bump. I don't. I don't. Let's talk about Halo really quickly because I feel we may never address it if I don't. I don't want to invent a new joint style. That's not going to happen. All there's like 3 different types of joints and just different combinations of them. So that's not going to happen. Um what I want to do is figure out a way to make an existing style look as good as it can look while still functioning. That's what I want to do. Functioning is the hard part. So this part here would get carved out. All right, so this part gets carved down. This. And again, this is not a final sculpt. This is just me brainstorming and throwing pieces together to see if I can come up with something that I can actually go with in an actual design. This is just rough. That wouldn't be that. That would be like that because you would have your calf muscle there. This would go in here. You guys are probably like, this guy doesn't actually know anatomy at all. I do, I promise. I promise I do. But everybody uses reference. Everybody should use reference anyway. But this is not me trying to do anatomy. This is just me trying to get some basic shapes in so I can figure out how I want to do it. Now, the trick is if I want to do the knee on the thigh, it can be done. But the question is, at what cost? That is the whole point of this, because every joint already, like we already have 1,000 different knees. I'm trying to come up with the best possible way to make it function really well and look good and not end up getting loose. So I don't know. I have to play around with this, and since I'm nowhere near ready with my line anyway, it's not like I'm in a rush. Um, like I have all of my legs already sculpted and set up for other types of articulation than this. So I'm not doing myself any favors by making the design process take even longer. But I want to make it as good as I can possibly make it. I have the luxury of time at this point because I am not doing it anytime soon. So that's helpful. Come on. All right, can I talk about Halo now? Is it time to talk about Halo now? Sexy Ice was double jointed. Nay. Nay, I say, not really. Sexy Ice was kind of double jointed. Theirs was reversed, but Sexy Ice figures have way more complex joints than I'm going to put in here because it will be too expensive. So, but theirs was only kind of like it was double jointed technically, but one of the joints did almost nothing. So, let's not get carried away here throwing things around. Talking about other things that they had one joint that was functional. Really, the top one barely did anything, and they should have done it the other way. All right, so if I do it that way, that leg's not terrible. Like obviously, the leg sculpt is garbage. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about seeing that if the joint was kind of behind the knee, that doesn't look terrible to me. Especially if there's like sculpted details around the knee, like clothing wrinkles and knee pads and stuff like that. I could see that potentially working. Let me I could see that potentially working. And we need to cut that out. Let me do that. Let's wow, all of my brushes are gone. So one of the problems that I'm having is I suck at this. No, is that a new company bought ZBrush. And when they bought ZBrush, they changed a bunch of things and there were updates, and I haven't used it really since all of that happened. So I don't like none of my hotkeys do what they used to do, and I don't have everything laid out the way I used to. So if we're ever gonna actually get back into doing streams, I'll have to figure it all out again. Sculpting streams, that is. Anyway, nobody cares about that. So let's talk about Halo. We need to talk about Halo. We need to. Um, the original Halo, it was a product of its time. People love to say, "Oh, it just looks the way it looks because it's an old game with old technology." That's true because they had to work around their limitations back then, but it had a very strong art direction, a very strong style to that game. It wasn't meant to be a realistic looking game. It was meant to have elements of realism, but it had a very specific style. And then they remade it like 10 years ago or 14 years ago or something like that, and they didn't pay attention to any of this style really, and nobody really liked it. It didn't look right. It looked like it was just weird and cheap and bad. But that was just a graphical change. You could switch back and forth and everything. Now they're remaking it again, and it just doesn't look. It has great graphics. People keep making the wrong arguments. It has great graphics because it's Unreal Engine. It looks good, but it doesn't look anything like Halo. That's the problem. Like, you could get a pretty deep knee. That's not in the right spot. That can't be. This is the other thing. You have to figure out where your joint is actually going to be, or it's not going to function properly. You have to carve away enough stuff to make it work. So that is, yeah, that is basically where it would be rotating. I could probably drop it down. If you dropped it down, and maybe it would rotate. I have to carve out a lot more because I didn't carve it out right at all. Um, so as far as Halo goes, it's a facelift that doesn't at all look like it should. And here's the problem. This is I have decided, and I don't think anybody could argue it based on what we've seen and what they've said, but I would love to hear anybody argue it. Um, they keep saying it's a faithful recreation. So you have to cut away so much. Of course, this is a really fat leg, but this is the problem with this type of joint. You just have to cut away so much. So if I wanted it to actually function, I have to cut away like that much, but it is on the inner thigh. So Revoltech cuts theirs out over here. I don't want that. So I might be able to get away with it. I think we might keep toying with the idea. They keep saying it's a faithful recreation. No, in order to get a deep knee bend, I need to cut away a lot more. But see, once you start doing that, you end up with weird knee problems because that's none of that's there. This light spot here isn't actually there. I'd have to get rid of that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a Revoltech one and make it look as good as I want it to look. Anyway, back to Halo. They keep saying it's a faithful recreation. It's not. It's a completely pretty looking, graphically impressive recreation that doesn't have any of the soul or heart of the original game. I don't see what the point is other than to put it on PlayStation. It's not for Halo's current fan base. I think what they're doing is to try to create a new fan base because the existing fan base won't have any more of their garbage. That's the problem. So they don't care if it looks like the original Halo because they're not appealing to the people that liked the original Halo. They're appealing to people that don't know anything about the original Halo. That's what I think is happening. But I don't think I'm going to be able to make this work, honestly, and make it do what I want it to do and look good enough. So I think I may have to, but I don't want double jointed knees anymore. I'm just not into double jointed knees or maybe even elbows. I'm going to have to do some thinking. We have to cut away so much, right? How do I clip it? Clip curve. Let's try clip curve. Okay. Alt. that gonna work? I remember the thing. Look at that. That would have come in handy an hour ago. Doesn't do it right. I didn't do it right, but I remember how to do it. All right, so Control Shift here, Alt there. Haha. All right, now we're cooking. Now we have cooked. Triple jointed knees. Well, that's a thing you could do for sure, but I don't know. The problem, I've spent so much time dealing with joints on these figures because I need it to look as good as I can possibly make it look. That's my whole goal. It needs to look good and function well. Is like understandable. Like that's the whole point. But let's go to right here. Cross there. We'll add the sculpt back in. Oh, good. I nailed it. Pretty cool. All right. Then what I want to do is cut a chunk away there, but you have to cut away so much. This is the problem. I don't know if I'm going to be able to allow myself to butcher the sculpt enough to make this joint work. We have to cut away like a lot for a deep knee bend. Or 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 we move this down. We move that down and fill it in everywhere else. Hmm. So I could potentially, we do this. Do this down. I think we might be able to come up with something that actually looks decent, but that little dangly knee, I don't know. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you good with having the inner thigh just cut out to have the range? I think it's worth it. Maybe. Maybe. That's a tough one. What should we actually have to cut it out? Let's see. If we're gonna, let's say the joint's gonna be right there. All right, it's still in that spot. So if I want to get way better than 90. I want to get a fairly deep knee bend, like at least that. So we have to cut out a lot, like a whole bunch. Ugh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to allow myself to cut this much of the sculpt up, guys. We may have to come up with a different solution. That's gonna get so. One thing to remember, I always have to remind myself, is when you're looking at it up close on a sculpt like this, it's going to look way worse than it does in real life. Is that a deep enough bend, though, is the question. Also, can I do something about that little wiener knee? I have to fix that. Let's fix that real quick because I'm tired of looking at that. Don't want to look at that. Maybe we could actually connect it down. That's gonna make the knee look freaking weird. I don't know, guys. I don't think this is gonna work. This new plan of mine. Well, now that I've smoothed it out, actually, assuming I have this sculpt where it belongs, let's do that. I guess that'll help. Maybe it doesn't look so bad because I'm looking at it from the side. That's not terrible, right? Well, you can't sink the knee in too far because then it's not where the knee goes. Drop down knees. Honestly, drop down knees would be a good option if you had like a double notch. So like, it's funny you said that. I'm not doing it. It end up being a loose joint for sure. But the uh, the idea is not a bad one. Let's put the legs straight again. So if this had a like, let's say we just did like a traditional disc hinge in the middle, so an insert molded a disc here that pegged in up here. You just have the peg have two notches, or the hole have two notches, and so all the way in, it's fine. You can bend it a little bit, then you drop it down. It catches in the other notch, and then you can bend the leg even farther. You could do that, but I don't want the leg to get loose. Um, so there's that. And now, as far as the knee thing goes, if we think we might actually do this. So the thing about sculpting, if you guys are new to my sculpting streams, is you have to be willing to spend a lot of time getting not much done, and then eventually something will be done. That's how it works. It sounds like I'm full of crap, partly because I am, but also partly because it doesn't ever look like it's going to work until it does. Then eventually you have something that actually works. I promise you, it's a real thing. Everything I've ever sculpted, every custom I've ever made, everything I've ever sculpted, I hated for at least 30% of the time. And I thought, this looks like garbage. Then it ended up looking a little bit less like garbage. So if that's cut out, have that going. Something like that. All right. Have our knee. It's not really the knee, but it's kind of like the knee. It's, well, I don't want it. Just to transition. And if that rotates around, we might actually be able to make this look okay. So obviously, if I was actually doing this, I would have this cut out perfectly round so that you could actually make it look right. It doesn't have to be perfect for this purpose. Maybe close, maybe closer to perfect for it to be actually usable for what we're testing. Right, and then for this part, we need this to go up, etch, part to come out. Yeah, there's a lot of give and take. Come on, why isn't it? When it comes to sculpting, it never looks good until it does. What are my thoughts on Absolute Batman's design? I don't know much about the character. I believe he's not regular Batman. Like, isn't he sad and poor or something like that rather than sad and rich? Like, there's something different about him, and so it suits his design for some reason. I don't know. I'm not like a huge fan of like the overly like super deformed type character designs. I think it looks pretty cool. I mean, I like the big beefy look. That's cool. It's not like my favorite thing ever, but I think it looks pretty cool. Okay, so the thing about the knee, um, that's what I was talking about a little bit ago. If I put the knee here, I might be able to do it here, but then it's going to have to sit on top of this. So what I'm trying to do is figure out a way to have the knee on the top. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not yet. I'm just toying with the idea. It may go on the top, it may go on the bottom. I may not do this joint or this setup at all. Looking at these quads is making me sad. We need to. Why is my? I don't want that. What? Uh, this? There it is. That's what I need. I need the focal shift and the intensity different. Oh, I'm glad I remembered that button was there. Yeah. All right. Now I can do a little bit better, slightly. Not really. I know it's. We don't need it to look good, right? You guys already love me. You don't care if it looks bad. That's what Hasbro says about every product they make, don't they? Oh, Hasbro, Hasbro. Yeah, all right. This doesn't have to look perfect. I just need it to look something like a leg. I'd have to check my anatomy reference to make sure I have the lumps in the right spaces. But that's kind of leggy, and this has to come way down, but that's what we're doing right here. So designing for Mess Toys. No. I may review some of their stuff. They've been asking me to review since they were just CT toys. I just don't want to. So I'm not going to. No, I might do if I can get review samples. I'm not buying I'm not buying the third party stuff like that. But if they keep asking me to and can provide review samples of the mess toys, not the CT toys, I will review the mess toys because I don't mind that. I need that to come all the way down. Why do I need to do this? Or what's the easiest way for me to do this? We'll clean up this cutout over here. Yeah, I may review some of the mess stuff. We'll see. It's hard to say. Yeah, big money. I'm actually have a design like that. So the way I have that worked out is I have the knee cut like this. I guess I can do it on here. So what he said, I'll put it on the screen, I guess, if I can find it. I have two chats going at once here. Um, so that's what he said. So I can't speak. The design I have has this split right down the center, and there's like a gap. So instead of them just rotating on each other perfectly, they're offset, and there's space for another piece of plastic that the knee can be connected to that can rotate. And I may do that, but that's more complex. It's more complex, and so it's more costly, but it might be worth it because it solves the knee pad problem. Don't really care about the knee cap so much, but adding knee pads, that would make it easy for me to add knee pads. So we'll see. Now the thing is, I can do that with this too, and it might make the knee look even better. So that's why I'm doing this. Big money is it big money collector? Yeah. So if I can leave the gap on the side here so that I can actually leave a knee sculpted in the middle, I can still make room for a floating piece, like a hard plastic piece or whatever, that sits in here, and then the knee pad is just connected offset of that. So I can still have a piece that rotates around on the inside, but my goal here is to try to keep the knee sculpt intact as much as possible. When am I planning to do a collab with Rocco the Great? I don't have plans to do any collabs. I don't have any plans to do anything like that because I don't really talk to anybody. At one point he said he wanted to have me on his thing or whatever he does. I don't know. But then it looks like to me he switched mostly, and I don't really use Instagram at all if you guys haven't noticed. I have like 10 posts. It looked to me like he switched over to doing like playing the algorithm more. And I'm not saying that in like a negative way. You do what you want to do. That's how social media works. But it looks to me like he does a lot of like engagement, reaction type stuff, engagement farming. Again, I'm saying that in like just a general sense, like a more whatever. It didn't look like he was still doing the same kind of thing. And I don't really follow anybody on social media, so I don't know if I'll ever do any social media type stuff. So we just need our knee here, something knee down a little, whatever. All right, so if we can keep the knee in place, did Big Money Collector ever respond to what my answering him? I don't think so. Okay, good. I'm afraid I'm missing people. Oh, what is this one? The new idea. Are you talking about the knee thing? It might be a new idea. I don't know. I don't know. You know what? One thing I need to do right here is just get this carved in. Can I? There it is. Adjusted. This is way too fat. Yeah, so if I can, never going to be able to stop trying to fix the anatomy. I really have a problem. It's hard for me to sculpt things when I'm not trying to do it right because I always want to do it right. Okay, so that's generally like a good enough look for the front of the leg for us to work with it, I think. And we've got things in the right places enough that I can probably stop being weird. All right. Close enough. That looks like you can tell that's supposed to be a leg. Are you sculpting an entire figure or are these like custom legs? These are just me brainstorming how to make the knees on my own action figure line. You know what? Let me do this. Let me save this because I realize some of you um may not know what I do, what I've done so far. So this is going to be a knee test. We'll just call it knee test. Save it there. All right. And then what I want to do, I don't buy Star Wars stuff, so I did not back the HasLab Rancor. What I want to do is let me switch. I'm going to switch the things for a second. All right, so now if I put anything on screen, you won't be able to see it, any sensitive stuff. I don't know where my files are, so I have to dig through my folders real quick. Let me see here. I think if I open this file, you guys will get a chance to see what I've done. Um, I realize some of you may not know that I've already designed an action figure line. So I'll show you briefly what it is. And that was something on the thumbnail, so I might as well do it. And once it's on the screen, I will switch the camera back. So any questions in the meantime, I'll field some questions for a few minutes. Oh, I have a question for you guys. That's a foot. If I change the stream time from 8 to 10 Eastern to 7 to 9 Eastern, would that affect your viewing? Would that be a good thing or a bad thing or a neutral thing? Yeah, bare shelves and boxes. You have no idea what this room looks like. It's not good. Anthony, was your line Street Humans? No. No. I have not launched my line. I am not done with it. I have not crowdfunded anything because I not ready for that. How do I turn it all on? I forget. Do I just click this? Oh shoot. I'm gonna break the damn thing. I'm trying to load every subtool at the same time. My computer's good. I don't know if it's that good. It's chugging. This is a very dense. Let me get rid of this. What is this? You go away. And hmm. Anyway, I've designed a whole batch of action figures, a whole line. I'm working on developing the whole line. This is just some of the pieces all mushed together into one action figure. You can't really tell what's going on. I wonder, why are there colored ones? Why are there some that are colored and some that are? Let me see if I can actually just put one together for you guys real quick, like a quick thrown together sort of. All right, let's just do this. I'll build an action figure for you in just a matter of moments. I have the LPZZ Batman. I got it over the weekend. Um, I ordered it forever ago. It took forever to come in. I'm filming the review for it tomorrow, so no comments on it right now because I need the viewership. All right, I'm just gonna pick some parts out so you guys can see, like roughly, very roughly, what I have. Where's the belt? Where's the belt? The belt's not here. The one I want, not here. Huh. Okay. I guess we'll skip the belt. Let's turn on the knee. Nope. Where do we have the knee? There we go. There's one. Oh, let's just use the two. All right, so we have those on. Now we need some boots. Let's use. Do I have any that are textured? Probably. Right. And this isn't necessarily what one of the figures is going to look like. This is some grouping of parts that I have. Where are the feet? I'm missing a bunch of feet. Maybe this isn't the right file. Oh, all right. I don't have all the parts in here that I need apparently, but I'll show you something. All right, I'll get you something. Let's put a body together. Some of these parts might have color on them. Some of Oh, I don't want to do that one. I lied. We're not doing that one. We are going to put together the body that has one. Ah, there's the belt. I knew I had a belt. There we go. All coming together now. Here's the that. Trust me, guys. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional. Yeah, sure. They're like, we don't even think you know what you're doing when you're doing a review. I don't. I don't know what I'm doing. There's an abdomen in here somewhere that we need. Where is it? Ah, ah. All right. Now we need arms. You guys, what kind of arms you want? You want robot arms, half robot arms? What do you guys like? I will definitely be making female figures, though they don't sell as well. Oh, no, I'll be doing it. And I'll make sure they sell well, if you know what I mean. Hey, it's Randall. That should be your slogan, Randall. Hey, it's Randall. Robot arms. I'm getting a lot of robot arms. No lizard arms. Not doing lizards. Lizards are not my thing. You guys sure you want robot arms? I don't know which exact robot arms I should use. A lot of people saying robot arms. All right. Apparently, I made a good choice in designing robotic arms. That one. A that one. Right. And we need some other parts. The shoulders probably don't. So we pop on some shoulders, and don't worry where there's cuts for pins and stuff. That's not necessarily. I mean, that's not how it's going to be. So don't worry. If you don't like the way that looks, it won't look like that. See, if you guys chose the half robot arms, I could use cooler pieces. You know what they say? Give the people what they want, and they won't be happy anyway. I'm joking. I'm joking. But it's true. All right, so we have most of our body here. Again, don't worry about the colors either. Human robot. Oh, human arms, robot head. Can't do it. They already said robot arms. What would your figure feel like in hand? um, a small version of. I guess actually be pretty close to like the Storm Arena. I'm not using some of the types of joints they use, but it would probably feel like that. Why is this one a different color? That's bothersome. No, 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 don't do that. We is it? I guess it doesn't matter if it's a different color. Let's put some hands on him, and I hope I can find some feet and head. Hands. Do you have any fists? I know I had all. This is probably just. I probably haven't brought everything over to this file. One point or another. Why are they looking funny? Cyborg. Let's just click that. Why? Oh, here we go. Yeah, there we go. Robot hands. All right. Bear with me, guys. Like I said, I don't really remember what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing at all right now. I'm winging it. You know just slightly less than I do at this point. All right, we'll turn those on. Do I have the swords and stuff in here? That would be cool if I did. Not quite. Kind of close. We'll leave it in. What the heck? Do I have the ones on his back? Probably not. I don't have a lot of stuff in this file, apparently. There's some feet we can use. That's the wrong feet. We don't want to use those. We want this foot. All right, so what I can do... That. That's like the main gist of the body. We put a head on him. Do I have any long-term plans for lines other than the cyberpunk stuff? Not in terms of original IP, but I would love, it would be my dream to make Street Fighter figures at some point. Granted, we're kind of covered at this point now for the immediate future, or for the foreseeable future, but I would love to do Street Fighter at some point. All right, I don't know which heads we want to use, so I can pop on this head. It may not be set up for this body. I think it is, though. Oh. And um, I would love to do Street Fighter, but as far as like original IP, I don't have anything off the top of my head. Oh, hey, a super chat came in. Let's see. We have from Nate. This is better than football. Can't argue there. Can't argue there. Oh, Soul Calibur would be great. I'd love to do that. So this isn't the head I want to show. I'll show it, but this isn't the head yet. We don't save. We don't need to save. Don't save. Oh, man, it's trying to save. Oh, I'm not gonna ever do like third party stuff. That's just asking to get sued. I don't want to deal with that. I would love to make a Batman. That would be fun, but there's no way I would ever get a Batman license. So there's one head. The colors you can ignore. But let me put on a head that I would like to put on the hooded head if I have the parts. I don't know if I do. The hood on here somewhere. It is. Ha! Does it have its texture? I don't have the texture. Oh, I bet you that's upstairs on the other computer. Hmm. Dang it. Well, you can get the idea. I'll just throw this on there. There's what the hood kind of looks like. Where's the textured hood? That's super annoying. I'm missing some heads too. We can use head. There you go. There's a rough approximation of what the one of my figures will look like. Give or take. So if you didn't know, now you know. It only took me like 10 minutes to find all the pieces. But that's the general idea. Right? So no, the thing I was working on was not custom in a sense. It was me trying to figure out the best way to make the knees look good because I don't like double jointed knees. I may just end up leaving these because I put some time into making these look as good as I could, but they still have the same issues as any double jointed knee would have. So I don't know. We'll see. But let's go back to doing what I was going to do. Let's see. Did you know one of the best sci-fi movies, District 9, only has one damn statue in terms of... Yeah, I saw District 9. It's a good movie, but I don't think it's the kind of movie that there's going to be a whole lot of merchandise. It's not very toyetic in that sense. I see. I would like to do all kinds of things like Resident Evil. I would like to make a Wolverine figure someday, Batman, but I'm never going to get a license to do like Marvel and DC. Probably ever. Very unlikely. It's very unlikely I end up getting any licenses because it's unlikely um, my business will ever be successful. That's just the fact of the matter is most businesses aren't. So I don't have high hopes for ever doing any of the comic characters. But I do think it's possible someday I could make Street Fighter stuff. That would be super. All right, so back to what we were doing, just trying to test out some new knee designs, a single jointed knee. I would love, love, love to be able to get a deep knee bend. Oh, that's pretty deep. Um, this might be a thing we could figure out. We might be able to make a single jointed knee work, guys. Like that's not terrible looking, and it's not even a good sculpt yet. But I have to move away so much more. Which Street Fighter would I do first? If I had the choice, and I know Capcom's real picky about stuff, I would do Akuma first, for sure. PUBG. I'm actually solid at PUBG now. So here's the thing about PUBG. Like I was decent enough back then playing on Xbox. I play on PC now. I have like no time to play. So if I'm lucky, I can get 3 matches in a day. But I play on PC with a controller, so I'm hamstringing myself. Um, but I'm a controller player. I don't want to play on a keyboard. I like to sit on my couch, lay sideways, and play and just be comfortable. So yeah, so the problem with this is going to be making it fit while having sculpt. Yeah, that's going to be rough. I'm going to have to butcher the leg. I don't know. Oh, you guys can't see the sculpt. Did I not show you? Nobody told me the whole time I was doing that. Nobody told me I didn't switch it. I blame you guys. I blame you more than I blame myself. I was trying to show you the whole thing I was trying to show you. You guys couldn't see it. You were looking at the top of my head. Oh gosh. All right, let me bring it back. Okay. Guys. No, I thought I was showing it to you. Oh man, this is not cool. This is not cool at all. Now I have to go find it again and I blame you guys. I blame you. Look at chat. I'm looking at chat, but I also have to try to do stuff. All right. Chill out. Right here. Right here. There's no need for name calling. Oh, I blame Alfonso. He has my phone number. He could have sent me a text. It's right here. Don't worry. It's fine. It's fine. We only wasted a few minutes. Plus, you guys got to see my gray spot right here. It'll load in a second. Frankly, this is going to be fine because you didn't miss much. Don't look at that head, though. Don't worry about that head. We have a different head to show you. All right. You didn't miss much. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that Alfonso wasn't on top of things. I'm just teasing. Because it's his fault. He deserves to be teased. Everybody point and laugh. All right. There you go. There you go. That's what you missed. You were following chat? Oh, man. No, no, I'm just teasing, of course. It's my fault, obviously. But there it is. There's the rough idea of what one of the figures might look like. There you go. The sword will definitely connect at the knuckles rather than go in the grip. I'm joking, of course. It's just not in place. But that's just something. Thanks, Schemo. Schemo, I appreciate it. Um, well, hey, you know what? I haven't done a sculpting stream in a long time. You guys have to give me some slack. All right. I didn't realize I didn't switch it back over. My fault. But there you go. That's a potential glimpse at what you may potentially be able to purchase someday, potentially. The hood will have texture, of course. I don't know where the textured version is. The other thing I need to figure out is if I want to add butterfly joints. I don't, but I might anyway. No Macross or Robotech. You crowdfund a license deal. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. You, the people giving the license, the owner would have to be pretty okay with that sort of thing, because if it fails, then it looks bad. So I mean, it's very unlikely that that would happen, but in theory, you could do it. So there it is. Um, I don't know. Like this may not. This is not going to be a particular character. Some of these parts will be used across lots of figures. This particular look isn't one of them. If you look at my main YouTube page video, that'll show you one that's probably going to end up being a character. Um, but we'll see. I don't know for sure yet. So that's what I was trying to show you guys. You do something similar to McFarlane for shoulders. If I do butterfly joints, I think that's what I'm going to do. But as you've seen during tonight, I'm not just going to willy nilly pick an option that might work and go with that. I'm going to really mess around with it and see if I can find something that I'm happy with in order to get the in order to make it work, make it look good. We need to figure out a way to see if I can get this joint to look good and function as a single joint. I just don't know if I'm gonna give it the good old college try. But what we need to do is to figure out if we can put so much. I can make that a lot smaller. Doesn't need to be anywhere near as big as it is. So the reason Revoltech's able to get away with this sort of joint easily is because their figures are super deformed anyway, and I don't want that style. That is not what I'm looking for. So I'm gonna have to mess around with this a lot. What figure are you going for aesthetic wise? Hey, Ant, what are you offering for people that become members on the channel? Almost nothing. It's strictly, that's why I don't ever promote it. You guys will sometimes get videos early, and you'll get early access to my sales when I prune my collection. And you get the little things that show up on when you like make a comment or something, but that's it. Like I don't have time or ability to offer anything more than that. And so it's basically just, if you want to support the channel, you can become a member and you get some slight perks. And if you don't want to, I get it. I can't offer anything else at this time. Oh, what, I don't know what your question means exactly. What am I going for aesthetic wise? Um, you mean like if there's a comparable figure that already exists? So like how far is, I want it to be able to go like that far. I'm gonna have to chop it so much. The anatomy of the knee isn't single pivot. The femur at the knee has an oval shape. Okay. If you made sculpting streams for members, I'd sub up. I don't have the time. I don't have the time to even do the streams I'm doing now. So I can't offer anything unique at this juncture. I'm trying to figure out a way to do this without just totally hacking the sculpt, and I can't come up with a way to do it. I could just, I don't want to hack it up. That's the problem. So I may not end up being able to do this. I don't know. I don't need it to be like up there for sure. Um, but that's gonna get inside of the leg. That's gonna be so ugly. I don't know if I can do it, guys. I don't know if I can make a single jointed knee look good enough that I'll be happy with it. It would look, if it was a figure right now, it would be closest to Storm, I guess, but there's not really a good comparable thing. Storm Arena, I should say, but no soft parts. Um, it's not really like any other action figure because it's going to be solid PVC torso. So it's, I mean, in that sense, it's kind of like NECA's Predators. The hips are entirely different. Most of it's entirely different. So it's like chunks of everything put together. Yeah. 3D printed action figures. I know that, but I can't do that in an action figure. That's not something I can do. So I'm trying to come up with a way to make an action figure joint that will look good and accomplish what I want it to accomplish. Trying to come up with a way to do a single jointed knee, not exactly in a way that I've seen done before. None of that's going to work exactly the way I want it to. Now, you have to also consider a lot of my figures have baggy pants, so I'm going to have to cut away even more to make that work. So I don't know, guys. I really want to do a single jointed knee, but I don't want to hack it. Now, one thing I was toying with, as I mentioned earlier in the day, was to just kind of hollow it out right here. Oop, thigh. All right, so just pull that in and just pull that in and do a single joint. So you have your disc hinge right in the middle. It pegs into here, and then this guy can just fold right back into that knee. But you still have to take away so much to get a deep knee bend on a plastic figure because you don't have squishy muscle, don't have squishy clothes. Any amount of mass back here and back here is a problem, which is why the double jointed knee works so well. It accounts for that, but it's ugly. So let me go back. Maybe you guys can weigh in on this. Maybe you're just okay with this and I shouldn't even think about it. Maybe that's the best option. Let me go back. Can I open this, please? Maybe you guys are just okay with this. Well, the problem with the extra joint at the shin is it creates a big cut. By necessity, it creates a big. You have to have a cut across just below the tib or just below the kneecap. So it's ugly. Uh, what are my thoughts? I don't. I'm not. I'm laughing because it's a funny question. I keep clicking the wrong thing. What are your thoughts on those annoying Hot Toys collectors like Cosma Collection? Didn't even know they existed. I mean, I knew they existed in like a general sense, but I don't know who you're talking about. I don't collect Hot Toys or follow what they do at all. So, I don't know. But here's the thing, guys. Let me see what you think about this. I've already sculpted these. It's easy to get a deep knee bend on a double jointed knee. You can see I've cut away almost nothing, right? So that's good. And maybe you guys are just okay with that. So that's what I want to know. What part am I on? Oh, I'm already on the leg. Huh. So let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me hide that question before it doesn't disappear. What if you made the thigh softer plastic so the knee can bend into it? It's not a good idea. There's no plastic soft enough that you can squish it at this scale and have enough retention on the knee joint to actually hold the squish and hold paint. That would never work. Well, I know, Zach, about the Revoltech stuff. That's what I want to do, but I don't think I'm able to butcher the sculpt enough for my liking for it to still work. Their sculpts are clearly not. There's a reason people have a problem have a problem with Revoltech sculpts. So there's that. All right, but anyway, let's see what you guys what's happening here. There we go. All right. I want to see what you guys think. Like, let's just pretend. It isn't going to be exact, but let's just pretend. Ooh, all right. So I don't have the knee piece in here, so I have to kind of cheat. So this joint is actually going to be up here. We're going to pretend there's the whole mechanism in the knee. I don't have it in there right now, though. All right. So if we rotate that back, it looks like it's touching, but it's not because I hollowed it out properly. So you rotate that back, and then you rotate this back. And so you end up with like a really, really nice, and I don't have it exactly in place, but I have a really deep knee bend sculpted into these guys. All right. But the problem is, of course, then you get the range, it's easy. Like double jointed knees are easy. I've already done them. The problem I'm having is I'm trying to come up with a better option because I want to make these things, these action figures, the best action figure you ever bought. um, so I'm just trying to come up with some new ideas. See if I can do that. So we're going to rotate the knee pad in place, and I'll show you the problem, which is a problem all the companies have, but I don't want to have it. Okay, whatever. I'll just move it in. Get the idea. Um, Going to be something like that, give or take, because like I said, I don't have the pieces in right now, and that's probably touching. Yeah, it's not. It's not quite right. Come out. So the problem is, you end up with a really, really. Oh, the feeder, the feeder in the way. Let's hide the feet for a second, shall we? All right. So the problem is, you end up with just a really fat knee. It's so fat, which I don't like. But I could just be a normal person and just leave it. Be like, okay, yeah, double jointed knees are fine. You get the deep knee bend, whatever. It doesn't matter. What do you guys think? I haven't seen the Buzzmod Demon Slayer knees. No, I imagine they work like, I don't know, the Player's Kayabuki or the modern, like the Daima Piccolo or some of the other things that Bandai's been doing lately. I don't know. Hey, what's up, Small Plastic Heroes? Hey, Small Plastic Heroes, are you the one who won the contest? My memory's garbage these days. That was you, wasn't it? Or was that somebody else? So, okay, it was. Did you get the thing? I sent it finally. Did it arrive? I hope it did. I'm sorry about the delay. Um, yeah, yeah, those kinds of knees are good, but the problem with those knees, which is part of the reason we started this whole conversation, is you don't have kneecaps. And a lot of my figures have kneecaps or knee armor or different things like that. And so it's very hard to integrate that to that type of joint. I think you should continue to try to innovate if you want to put the best figure ever. Well, it's going to be the best figure you can get for your money is my aim. Like it can't be the best figure ever at a $40 price point. That's not it might be the best overall figure in a more general sense, but things like double jointed knees, for instance, I can't do everything I want to do all at the same time. It depends on the different designs, and there's all kinds of different factors that go into it. So maybe we just stick with the double jointed knees as much as I would rather do something different, especially since a bunch of the figures are going to have baggy pants. I don't want to have drastically different engineering either. So like let's say cuz this guy's got the baggy pants. So let's say I design him like a Goku knee, like the way Bandai's been doing it with like the U shape that just goes underneath it as a single joint. I could do that, but then it'll be a totally different type of knee than say I don't know, a figure that doesn't have the baggy pants. So I can't reuse parts as much. There's a lot of different factors. So I don't know. I don't know. Let me see. Oh, Small Plastic Heroes mentioned the two different things. So yeah, like I could in theory do double designs, like two different designs all together. But then I can't reuse the parts. And if I can't reuse the parts, then I'm very limited. You definitely need to be able to reuse parts for characters and figures like this. If I want to keep the prices down, I can't have an entirely different articulation scheme for every different sculpt. That's going to be a problem. So you had me at Cyberpunk Ninja. Cool. Good. Has anyone tried a dumbbell knee or dumbbell joint at the knee? SH Monster does stuff like that. It can work, but you end up with a lot of hollow and floaty pieces, and I don't care for that. It wouldn't be good for this. Um, I think somebody. I can't read your name. What is it? The the Dirkle? I'm sorry. um. Oh, good. Small plastic heroes. I'm glad it arrived. Yeah, I think I may have to. It seems like most of you seem to think that this is going to look fine. That this is going to be good enough, and we can't reinvent the wheel with every joint. And this isn't like the worst knee I've ever seen for sure. And one of the benefits is it's sculpted all the way through. If this was a Hasbro figure, this right here, or so you can see, this right here would be flat, no texture at all. And this right here would be also flat, the top of the leg. So I think maybe I can just leave it like this and it's going to be fine. How much would tooling cost for one figure? It One of mine, there's no way to say for sure. It's going to be different at every factory and what you're doing, but like this piece right here, the torso, it's thick. So you have a pretty deep mold. You could spend a lot. You could spend tens of thousands of dollars, a couple tens of thousands or many tens of thousands. There's no way for me to say until we figure out how it's going exactly, but it's expensive. The kneecap being bigger doesn't fix the problem in a sense. Okay, so the problem with the kneecap idea is, let's say you just made a really big kneecap and it fills out this whole area. Where does it go when the leg is straight? That's a giant kneecap. It's like that's a long distance. That's almost as long as the whole shin. So can't really do it. I mean, these are going to be a little bit different than what you're looking at right here. I mean, obviously they're not connected to anything. But my goal was to try to use the kneecap to just fill this area out because, like Hasbro's kneecaps, are we still on the knee? Hasbro's kneecaps are like in like this basically. So you just have a big flat thing. So my goal is to have them out at least a little bit like that, and then you're gonna have the knee joint and stuff to fill that in, and it should look okay. I think. Eh, I don't know. That's why we're having this conversation. But if you made the kneecap big enough to actually fill the whole thing, it would be humongous. Yes. Tom, hee hee. I agree. I much prefer single jointed knees, but I have yet to come across one that I can implement across all of my figures that doesn't screw up the sculpt. This chair is not comfortable. Was any company, probably has any company ever done something like drop down knees, as in they extend to get more range? I don't know, but we talked about that a little bit earlier. It wouldn't be that hard to do. The problem when you do things like that is you end up with loose joints frequently. Um, Lamau Sun says he sees no issues with the double jointed knees. I think you may be right. I think you might be onto something. The problem with the drop down knees is you end up with a gap, and you end up with most likely something that's going to get loose. Jojo appeared, said, considering the other options at the same price point, this is close to the best you'll get, I believe. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Um, I hate to not do a single jointed knee, but I did put a lot of effort into these double jointed knees, and now that I'm looking at them, I'm thinking I might be wasting my time trying to do anything better. I think there's some Gundam stuff out there with the slip joint knees, but again, I don't think that that's going to be something you want on an action figure that you're going to handle and play with constantly. The problem isn't the wave. The problem is being able to reuse parts. If I put a single jointed knee on it, it's either going to just totally massacre some of the sculpt on some of the pants for sure, like a lot. Um, or it can only be used on one or the other, like the skinny legs or the big legs. So I don't know. I don't think I can do that. Double ball peg with a floating knee. So you're saying just like have a. So here's the thing about that. I don't know if I can actually demo this. Let me see if I can just All back? Or are we only going to be doing that? All right, then we'll go here. There we go. All right, so what he's suggesting with the double ball peg, I assume, is to have a cavity in here, like a spherical cavity in here and a spherical cavity in here. There's a problem there. It's already ugly. Then you have a big ball here, a big ball here, and you have your kneecap connected and floating in the middle. So sure, that's technically doable, but as I mentioned, you're going to have a really ugly cavity on either end. Or you don't make it ball functional. You just like it's a ball cavity in here, but then this part is still like this basically, so it doesn't have any room to play. So it's not as ugly, but then you just have a ball joint for the knee. I wouldn't feel super comfortable using that because there's no real retention unless it's super tight. So I'd probably have to do hard plastic inserts. I wouldn't be comfortable with the knee joint being a ball joint in PVC. It would end up getting too loose. And then I don't know about the floating knee. I think you're going to end up with, when you bend the leg, you're going to end up with a pretty ugly situation. So I don't think that would work either. Um, Maybe do the knees like how SH Figure Arts are doing their Demon Slayer. Yeah, the problem is that won't work. That won't allow me to reuse parts. And I need to. Every company needs to. I definitely do. So I like that the double joint points the one forward. Are you saying that it's an offset rather than just like a straight, like a U shape? You're saying that mine is like this and then it bends this way and then goes. I tried to do that. I don't know how well that's going to actually play out, like how much of a difference that's going to make, but that was my goal. But the rounded parts are, this is the biggest issue right here. This not being cut flat inside the joint. Hasbro has this flat on everything and it makes them look ugly. He said, I'm probably wasting time. I think I am. But you know what? I wouldn't have gotten this figure to where it is now without having wasted tons of time coming up with new ideas for things. So we can't do squishy, guys. Squishy does not work. We're not doing squishy parts. Squishy parts will not last over time. The paint will be a problem at least. And none of the parts are going to be squishy enough that you can actually squish them effectively at this scale. Remember, we're talking about pieces this big. For like the leg is like this long and this thick. So the knee joints are tiny. These are just 6-inch action figures. So you'd have to have metal and everything in order to make that functional. You want me to do a thigh that extends when I bend the leg? Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Don't think that's that's not gonna happen. That's essentially just a slip joint knee with the sculpt coming with it. That's way too complicated. I don't think that's gonna. I don't, here, okay, so here's the other factor, guys, because we have to consider everything. Um, how many people are gonna be in a deep, are posing their figure in a deep knee bend? Sometimes, and maybe it's nice to be able to do that, which you can with this, but most of the time it's not necessary. Most of the time the figure is going to be posed doing something else. So how important is it to make the deep knee bend look perfect with a single jointed knee versus it looks good the rest of the time with a double jointed knee and we don't have to cut up the sculpt or come up with some kind of cockamamie idea with steel joints inside squishy parts. I think that's a thing. I think the important part was it's able to do it still. The only sacrifice is the knee itself doesn't look as good as it's in a deep knee bend. Still do the deep knee bend, and it still looks decent doing it, but it has the downside of a double jointed knee. So that's the thing. I'm not saying there's no deep knee bend. I'm saying it's able to do it. I'm saying, is it necessary for it to be a single joint versus a double joint? I'm thinking that's not the case. Like I said, my deep knee bend here is it's perfectly functional. I made sure it could do it. It's just on the double jointed knee. So the question is whether or not I should try to change it and make the figure look uglier in every other pose, but look good in a deep knee bend. I don't think that's a good call, personally, if I can't make it look good while doing it. There's a reason people don't like Revoltech figures, and it's because they're cut up too much. Yeah. Yeah. Um, I've been toying with the idea of doing butterfly joints for a long time. It works on this sculpt. So I think what I may end up doing, okay, so I have different sculpts, obviously. So I think what I may end up doing is having butterfly joints on some and then not on others. So we're running low on time. Um, so if I don't use this torso and we use one like, let's just put, where are the boobies? There they are. Arms are still there. Well, we can just pretend he has robot arms. Oop, that's fine. Robot arms. That, and do we have an abdomen that goes with this guy here? Which file do I have open even? I don't understand. I don't understand. Not use the colored version. It at least looks like this must be a really old file. So the thing is, like some of my sculpts, I really don't want to break up to have a butterfly joint. And so I may not. I just may not add it for some of them, and then for others I will. Um the library of sculpts is dope. You should see the real one. I thought this was the file, but this is like half. Not literally, but I have way more than this. I'm missing, I guess I'm not missing all of them completely, but I'm missing a good chunk. But so yeah, things like this, I don't want to cut that up for a butterfly joint, and it can already two-hand a sword. So there's really no need. Or sculpts like this one. I like that. I don't want to cut into the chest. I hate that. So I don't know. I may have some sculpts that have a butterfly type of joint, but some of them definitely won't. 'Cause I'm not ruining a bunch of sculpts for a joint that doesn't add that much, or like this one. Off. So like, yeah, maybe I could put one in here and it would wiggle around like a McFarlane figure, but you're not getting anything out of that. All that does is increase the cost. You guys would be paying more for basically nothing, and I don't want you to do that. I want to give you as much money as much money. I want you to give me as much money. No, I want to give you a figure that offers you as much as I can. And so there's almost no extra range there for me to cut that up. And if I put a joint there, you lose the sculpt because there's not enough room to add a sculpt for a floating piece. So oftentimes I'm going to err on the side of not doing a butterfly joint. And people who want them, they're just going to have to be okay with it or not buy it. I can't please everybody. Um, but I think the sculpts will carry. Um, The sculpts will carry it through, I believe. Let me do a thing. Where's the head? There it is. That on. Do I have his hat? I better have his hat. I'm going to be really upset if I don't have his hat. Have his hat. What about the swing out style? Don't like that. Thought about it. If I do it, it's only going to move a little bit. I don't like that thing where the shoulder just goes way out there. Don't like that. ZBrush. It is ZBrush. Will I add shading? I mean, these are not anything, so they're going to look entirely different than this. There will be shading, yes. Um, yeah, I think I'm with Climax H. Butterfly joints are not necessary. You can get a lot done without them, and the sculpts are better for not having them. So, um, I like I said, I'm going to try to put them in where it makes sense, but I'm not going to sacrifice the sculpt in any significant way. On that one torso, that one, yeah, I can probably do it fairly easy, but without screwing up the sculpt. I mean, so we'll have to see about that. There will be female figures. There are not any yet. There's that. But yeah, you guys can look at the video. Watch the video if you're new to this. Watch the video on my main YouTube page, and you'll see they pose pretty well. And those are just prototypes, so they should be okay. We'll see. But I got to call it there, guys. So if you like the sculpting streams, let me know, and maybe we'll do more. But otherwise, we'll probably go back to doing what we've been doing. And capes or coats? Yes, coats. And yes, plastic. I don't think I'm going to do soft goods. I don't like soft goods. Guys, I can't answer questions like where they're going to be available. I would like for them to be available everywhere, but I'm not even close to production, so I have no idea where they'll be distributable, sellable, whatever. I don't know. All right, but that's it. I gotta go. So thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like this sort of stream, let me know when the video goes into being a video rather than a live stream. You can comment on there and let me know if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. If you like it, if you don't like it, all that kind of stuff. No capes. I don't think I'm gonna have any capes. There could be a couple capes, but we'll see. I don't know. The thing about capes is like soft goods are good, but more expensive, and it's a real balancing act. I'm not anywhere near that stage yet, so we'll see. Okay, but anyways, I gotta go. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, you should. If you I don't know what I normally say in my outro. What do I normally say? If you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day. I have thousands of videos already on the channel for the days I don't, and you should come back for all that good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.